You get passed over for a promotion. Your buddy starts to make more than you and gives you a hard time about it. Someone disrespects you in front of your partner. I bet just hearing that made you either angry or ashamed. Today we're talking about status seeking in men. Why does it hit us so hard? And how do we channel it effectively instead of letting it control us? This isn't about your ego, and there's nothing wrong with wanting status. Let's get into it. Status seeking is masculine, and we know that because of the structures that men have built over time. Patriarchy is something that was constructed by men because we value status. It's gone too far, it's toxic, and it's not in service to a world that we have and something that we need to deal with. But there's a reason why it was built in the first place. And there's 3 key data factors I want to cover to highlight why that is. The first one is our testosterone. Our testosterone levels go up or down based on the wins and losses that we experience. The way that we're publicly seen and the way that that is expressed to us directly impacts our testosterone. There's a reason why high status males have affairs and late life children, Al Pacino, various senators and such. And there's a reason why you feel so poorly for so long after a major hit, like getting passed up for a promotion, being broken up with, and being shamed publicly, all physically impact the way that we're responding to the world. The second data point that highlights this is the social dominance orientation. There was a study that looked across 40 different countries and looked at how men and women seek social structures. And men tend to lean towards hierarchical structure. If you look at most masculine organizations, this plays out. They tend to be hierarchical in structure because we form them faster and we settle into them sooner than women often do. Women tend to choose more egalitarian structures. And remember, as we talk about this, we're talking about it like men are taller than women, right? There are plenty of women that lean into hierarchy and plenty of guys that lean into more equity. But overall, men seek hierarchy for that safety and for that status check. And the third data point to cover is how men respond emotionally to status threat. Our emotional responses tend to be bigger than women's. The shame, fear, and anger that we experience on status threat is very well documented. In my experience, my most visceral responses in the world have been over status threat. And that's largely true for most of the guys I work with. Most guys have been in some way physically hit, hurt. That's not what we tend to stick to. We tend to stick to the social loss. We remember the breakup, the embarrassment, the lessening of ourselves in front of a social group. Those are the things that tend to stick to guys, and where a lot of my clinical work ends up focusing on healing. There's a reason for that. Our body is built on the idea that if we do not have status, we do not have access to procreation, and we do not have the resources required to be safe. So our whole system around status seeking is built for a world that no longer exists. So that's why we've got to figure out how to channel it so that we can break out of the structures of patriarchy, which are hurting men and women and everybody else, and to do so effectively by acknowledging that status is important to a lot of guys. And there's nothing toxic about that. It just needs to be channeled and done well. So let's talk about how to do that. The first one is career progression. The first question almost every American man gets anytime he's socializing is, what do you do? And that's part of why our career and our professional status matters so much. It's literally baked into the social fiber of how we engage the world. For some guys, it's their physical fitness. These are the guys that want to be seen as big. They go to the gym, they lift a heavy thing. They do the things to really lean into their physicality and get status for that. Next one is we got finance, the collection of money, the acquisition of the security that money brings, and the status symbols that that money showcases. These are the guys that need the nice cars, nice clothes, nice watches, etc., to showcase how they've been successful in the world and that they hold the status of that financial success. Next one is going to be social. These are going to be your influencers, your church members, your deacons, basically any role in which money isn't necessarily changed hands, might be, but not always, but it's socially recognized as a higher status that people want to know you. And the next one is intellectual. Being a guy that's a thought leader, somebody who establishes, researches, problem solves, does the things required to expand out human knowledge a little bit more in visible ways. And most guys are going to find a variation of these aspects or how they exhibit and chase down status in their life. And none of them, not one, is inherently toxic. They can all go badly, but they can also all go really well. We need people to lead, to build, to push us forward. And that's what status seekers often do. So for the guys that this is going to be a pillar of your masculinity, the ones where your status more than anything else is going to matter to your masculinity, the channel becomes so important. And this is where we want to go back to that frame. Is it of service? Is it connected? Does it have discipline? And can it be expressed in a way that's seen? So for me, when I'm dealing with this, I'm thinking about the podcast a lot lately. I've wanted a platform like this for a long time. I like talking about the things I like talking about. I like being seen as an expert in the spaces I'm in. But there's a reason why I waited till I had 10 years of clinical experience working with guys under my belt before I started recording this for public consumption. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just a guy seeking status, that I was somebody who was bringing something of value. And yeah, the status of this matters to me. There's a reason why I'm putting myself in front of you. It's because I want to help and I want to be seen helping. For guys I work with, the kind of highest performing ones are going to be the CEOs and C-suite guys I work with. And almost all of them come in with this singular drive. Them and professional athletes, where all I want is this singular goal, and I'm going to put everything I have behind it and into it. And those guys end up pretty lonely. If you talk to most CEOs, it's a lonely spot to be in. They feel very disconnected from their world. They're working so much and doing so much that the rest of their life is kind of falling apart. And so with a lot of those guys, a big part of our work is re-aiming their status seeking to have a balance with the leadership they're building, the companies they're building, the profession they're building, and why they're building it. Who's it of service to? How does it impact their dear ones? How does it impact themselves? And what's a sustainable way to keep it going? The other kind of guys that this tends to come up with are first responders and military guys. When I work with them, these are service-oriented people. They want to be seen in the world being of help. But the first thing we've got to do is identify their values. What about the service is drawing them into it? Just like with the CEOs, the why question becomes so important. And then once they have the answer, once they have their values locked in and they know why they're in this uniform and they know why they're seeking the ways they're seeking, all of a sudden they start going for promotions. Most of the guys I work with end up going from frontline workers to leaders because they find that space in their world that aligns with their values that they want to be seen doing. It's okay that you want money. It's okay that you want to be a leader. It's okay that you want to get influencer status. All of that's fine as long as it's balanced within your community. There's a why to it, and there's a purpose behind what power you want to hold and the power you're reaching for and the things you want to do with it. The main problem here is we get so focused on the status that we forget why we want it. We forget what we want to be doing with it, and we chase it so hard we leave the people behind that we were building it for in the first place. It's not uncommon for older guys to come in late in their career to talk about why their kids hate them. They're like, I do everything. I got this kid everything in their world. They have nothing to want, and it's because I worked so hard. And it's because their kids want them around. They miss their dad. The stuff is great. The security of all that is great, but they miss their father. Don't let the drive for status push you into leaving behind all the things you want the status for. That's kind of what patriarchy has done to us. That's why I talked about it at the first part of this section. The idea of patriarchy, in part, is built around the idea that a man is only his labor. And when we're only our labor and there's nothing of service, of connection, of discipline behind the ways that we're expressing that, it goes really badly for us, not just the people we're shoving down to get there. So watch that. Use this framework. Take a look at where you are in your life and the status that you're seeking and make sure that it's got that frame. How are you being of service? Who's it connecting to you? Why is it being expressed in the way it's being expressed? And is it good? And can you be disciplined in how you achieve it and chase it down? If you do those things, you're not just going to be a leader. You're going to be a healthy human being who leads. And that's the goal with these. Not to shame the fact that you want status, but to aim the fact that you want status. So let's talk about how to aim it with that frame. The first one is, who is your status of service to? Is it just your ego? Do you get upset when other people perform well? Is it always about winning the competition instead of the goal being achieved? Leadership should be in service to a goal, not just about your ego and pumping you up to the biggest thing you can be. The next one is that discipline. Are you killing everything else to reach this status? If so, your discipline and your organization are going to burn you out. You're moving into that grind culture instead of that work ethic. Grit is important. We've talked about it on the show. We've had other episodes on it. And it needs to be disciplined. It needs to be balanced with those social connections and the healing that you need to keep pushing on the hard things that you need to push on for your status. If all it is the one thing and there's no discipline around making space for the rest of your life, you're probably moving to toxic territory. And connection's the next one. Who are you around? Are the people that are seeking this status with you people that you want to be around, people that share your values? Do the people in your life that don't work with you, that don't care about what you're doing, still value what it is you're bringing into the world? Can they still see you through the status you're seeking? If it starts to disrupt your ability to connect with those around you in every aspect, this isolation is going to become toxic, and it's going to make you lose empathy for people to include yourself. It's going to make your life so brittle because this is the one aspect that you have to hold yourself together. Look around and make sure that you're connecting with those people and things that are important to you. And the last one is, can it be witnessed, the expression of it? How is it being expressed? Are you a guy that's going into a ton of debt to have the showcases and trappings of wealth instead of actually going and getting the wealth? Are you doing things where it's more important to be seen doing them than it is to be doing them? And how do you know if you're overextending financially, if you're consistently talking about the power you hold instead of just being in the power you hold? You're doing it wrong. Anytime someone says they're a big deal, no one believes they're a big deal. If all it is flash and no substance behind it, you're damaging yourself. You're making your actual goals of financial security and being seen as financially secure go slower. Take a look at your priorities. Take a look at where you're spending your time and your money, and make sure that it's expressed in a way that showcases where you are and what you're doing instead of where you're trying to be and where you think you're going. That's how we avoid the toxicity. And that's how we step back from that patriarchal concept that we are just what we do, instead of what we do matters. If you do these things, it's going to go really well for you. The guys I work with do so much better, are so happier, and their work improves. My work improved. If I'd have tried to do this podcast 10 years ago, I'd have just been blowing smoke. I would have been unconfident. I would have been giving you bad information at times. And I would have felt like an imposter because I would have been one. So make sure that if you're a person that's seeking status, you're running through these metrics to make sure that what you're chasing is of value to you and in alignment with who you want to be. This usually connects to two things.